So when I first started watch collecting, I had absolutely no interest in Casio, but I have been completely sucked down the rabbit hole, and now I just catch myself surfing Amazon every now and then looking for something cool from Casio that I can pick up. And on one of those lazy Amazon hunts, I came across a pretty interesting watch from Casio that I hadn't seen reviewed before. This is kind of a field watch from Casio. It's an analog watch. It's ultra slim. Features a full stainless steel case and a mineral crystal, so we're definitely getting a step up from a lot of the kind of resin and plastic watches that Casio offers. But with that, it also has a significant step up in price. This watch falls in kind of an interesting market segment for Casio, and I hadn't really seen them do many watches in this price range and in this style. So take a quick look and let's get into it. Hey guys, welcome back to Just the Watch. My name's Dave. I live in Japan and I love to collect affordable watches. So yeah, living in Japan, it was inevitable that I would find my way to Casio at some point. And now I have an entire watch box that's filled with nothing but cheap Casio watches. But this one that we're looking at today comes in at around $100, but it's not a G-Shock, it's not an Edifice, it's not from any of their other lines. This is kind of an odd one from them, I think. Overall, the quality is pretty good with one glaring exception, and that is that the strap feels really cheap, but that just gives us a great excuse to try on some other straps, which fortunately is pretty easy because unlike a lot of Casio's watches, this one features just standard 22mm lug openings. So we'll have some fun with that as well. Anyways, let's jump in and take a look at the Casio MTP-E715. Okay, I'm going to start with the one thing that I hated about this watch, and that is the strap. This is a genuine leather strap, but it's one of those straps that when you put it on, you kind of question whether or not it actually is genuine leather. The surface has a very plasticky look and feel to it, which is to say it both looks and feels cheap. Now, this kind of strap is pretty common from Casio, especially in their lower priced offerings, but I feel like Casio is really going for more of a mid-tier watch for them, not like an ultra cheap one here, so I would have hoped that the strap would have been up to the rest of the watch, but it's not. The one good thing I'll say about it is that it is pretty comfortable. It's actually very flexible and breaks in very quickly. And the color of the strap really complements the watch really well, especially with this black and tan color scheme. But if I was going to get this watch and wear it, the first thing I would do is ditch that strap and go with something better. And since this does feature standard 22mm lug openings, there's a ton of great straps you can get your hands on. And I have a lot of great 22mm straps, so I'm going to be trying it on a bunch of different ones throughout the course of this video. That's why I want to start by talking about the strap, because you're going to see this on a lot of different straps as we go, and hopefully it'll give you some ideas of what you might do if you pick this watch up yourself. And at the end of the video, I'll wrap back around and tell you which was my favorite strap option. So poor strap out of the way, what else does this watch have to offer? As I mentioned in the intro, I think this watch is Casio trying to target sort of the Timex market share, or maybe even brands like Daniel Wellington or MVMT, sort of the fashion watch segment of the market. Priced at around $100, this is a bit of a step up from what people are typically used to paying for Casio watches that look like this. But look a little bit closer, and there are a lot of kind of premium refinements to this watch that you don't see in Casio's cheaper offerings. For one, the case is made out of stainless steel rather than plastic or plated brass. It's got an interesting case design, and it is incredibly slim at around 9mm thick. And the design is a lot more minimal than Casio often goes for. Essentially, it's a nice looking quartz field watch from Casio. And that's what really caught my attention because I love field watches and I don't see Casio doing a lot of watches in this style. This is a much more restrained and minimalist design than Casio often offers. It's not a retro 80s digital watch or a big bulky G-Shock. It's a very classic looking watch that's also very stylish and I think really would pair well with a lot of casual outfits. Casio has done a number of different colorways. The black and green one almost swayed me, but I decided to go with this kind of black and tan color scheme. I really like the blacked out case, and I think the tan markers and hands pair very well with it. The dial has a classic field watch layout with 12 Arabic numerals marking the hours, and then on an inner track you have the military time reading as well. Printing on all of these is very crisp and sharp, and there's a nicely integrated framed date at 3 o'clock. Would have been nice to see that date color matched to the dial. The white background on the date does sort of stand out and not in a good way, but this is kind of a minor thing and often what you're going to see at watches in sort of this budget price range. Another missed opportunity is the lume or lack thereof. The markers are not loomed at all. The only thing you're getting are loomed hour and minute hands. And these are actually adequately bright for a quartz watch in this price range, especially given that tan or old radium color scheme to the lume. The hands do give off a pretty strong green glow that's going to give you some level of after dark legibility, but don't expect it to last all night long. For me, my favorite part of the watch was the case. It has a tonneau or barrel-shaped case design, which is pretty unique. Going with a case shape like this and a round dial provides an interesting frame around that dial, which I think Casio accented very nicely with a vertically brushed finish and these 4 rivets at the corners of the case. But the thing that's really cool about this is the thinness of that case. Casio is taking full advantage of the quartz movement in this watch by making the case under 10 millimeters thick. And while that barrel-shaped case does lengthen the watch across the top of the wrist, the lugs are very short, so overall your lug-to-lug is still pretty reasonable at 48 millimeters. And the result is a very comfortable watch that is very unobtrusive and will easily slide under your cuff. So if you are doing some winter hiking where you need a watch that's going to go under a long sleeve jacket very easily, this will definitely fit the bill. Okay, let's talk some strap options. You've seen a few of these as the video has gone by, but I think one of the most obvious ones is switching this over to a NATO style strap. I've got this tan or khaki colored one from North that I think really matches the watch well. And because the watch is so thin, even with a slightly thicker NATO style strap like this, you're not going to add a lot of height to the watch. So I think this is really tailor-made for NATO straps. Another pairing that I really liked is just this simple HORWEEN leather strap from NOMAD Watchworks. This is just a classic brown watch strap in a high quality leather, and it makes all the difference in the world compared to the stock strap here. Not only does it really elevate the look of the watch, it also feels much better on the wrist. And finally, if you really want to lean into that all black aesthetic, I thought this one looked really cool on a black leather strap with those vintage stitchings at the top. Really gives it a stealthy military style look. Those were my top options for straps on this watch. Again, I think that interesting case shape with your standard 22 millimeter lugs and the thinness of that watch really is going to open up a lot of options for changing this out to different straps to really be able to customize the watch to your own preferences. Finally, let's talk value, and that's where I think this watch from Casio does kind of lag behind a little bit. It's in a bit of an awkward part of Casio's line where this is not one of your hyper cheap digital watches, nor is it a G-Shock. This is a watch I would happily pay $60 for. But currently it seems to be trending at closer to $100, and I think that's because this one just didn't really take off. Even though as near as I can tell, this watch was only released about a year ago, Casio already has this listed as an old model on its website. So I'm assuming that means it didn't sell well and they just discontinued it, which means that the places where you are finding it are sticking pretty close to the original retail price rather than discounting it. Still, this is a very interesting watch from Casio. I love the fact that it comes with that full stainless steel case. I like how thin it is, and I like its more classic restrained design. And I would love to see Casio continue to make more watches like this. I think it would be great if they can bring the same level of value to this style of watch that they do to their digital watches. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you all for watching. I will see you later. Drop me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this watch, and let me know what availability is in your country. I'm finding it here on Japanese Amazon fairly easily for, the last year or so. I don't think this is a JDM exclusive. I think this should be available in other parts of the world as well. So I'd be curious to see if you have seen this one. And if you want to check out a Casio themed sweatshirt like this one that I'm wearing here, you can get that on justthewatch.com. Anyways, that will wrap it up for today. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.